Well, it's just that I'm not Roman Catholic. I'm not. I'm anti-Roman Catholic because of their hypocrisy on homosexuality. I was born queer, and if you put in Google the search terms cocaine-fueled gay orgy at Vatican Cardinal's apartment, you'll find in mainstream news that exactly happens. I don't know, Cardinal sin of being queer, and there's nothing more queer than the fucking Vatican, so, fuck off. I don't want to be a Roman Catholic, so I don't follow their doctrine of eternal damnation for people, because that's stupid. So for the devils that devil me, the warlock, well, my intention is to put them in the lake of fire, give them a good scorch. But I ain't gonna leave in there forever and ever and ever and ever, second death, eternal. No, because even the Catholic Church is like cuckoo pants, because that's what it says. But then when I listened yesterday to the Roman Catholic cardinal, he was from some African place, he was a good lecturer, and he said, even if you're in hell, God's arms are always open for you to return as the prodigal son, or the prodigal daughter, or the prodigal non-binary, transgendered, and then glued it all back on, and then tried it out for a while, and then I just went back to that song, Detachable Penis. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. A good scorch in the lake of fire. It's like a whack on the ass. Don't do that. But, Hanuman did say, that's the Hindu god. That's the monkey god. He did say that, people do need to experience their karma so they get their soul lesson. But I cannot see the purpose of having karma if it's too screwy. It's too screwy the way that the karma is set up right now. Some people get instant karma, and some people get delayed karma multiple lifetimes. Well, that's pointless. Because I don't remember, even if I had past lifetimes. So, because that's what the teachers of karma said. Well, in past lives you did this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, fuck, I did, because I wasn't here before I was born, you stupid stoop. And if I was, well, then how can I be held responsible for what in essence was a different human being and what they did in a different time space? Because whatever the karmic lesson is, it's so that you don't repeat the mistake. But if you don't know what the mistake was in the past life, then you're doomed to repeat your past mistake. And how are you going to fix your karma? Well, no. It's like stupid, beyond like blow your head off, whoever teaches this stupid doctrine. Because it's asinine. But all the same, evildoers, George Bush said, we got to smoke them out. Smoke them out of their hiding spots in those caves in Kandahar. We got to smoke them out. And then they showed George Bush, mission accomplished, and him, the president, flying, I don't know if it was an F-15 or something, and him landing an F-15. He was the president, and he was apparently trained or at some point in the U.S. military how to fly one of those monster machines, and he flew that thing when he was the president, and he landed it on the aircraft carrier. That was unbelievable. That's truly a warrior king, George W. Bush. Now, personally, I don't know. Because I'm having to revise my opinion of George W. Bush and his father. Because I considered them to be Class A devils responsible for 9/11. And lying more than Richard Nixon about it. But it's just come to me today. Because I always do with my devils, and the other ones that aren't so devilish from time to time, we do a practice on a regular basis called revise. And we learned revise from my statistics mathematics teacher at McMaster University, because he would do revise. He didn't call it any, he was from India, and he had an Indian accent. And, you know, in Canada, we would have called this doing a review, because we're going to have a test tomorrow, or we're going to do a major review for, I don't know, maybe a week. And then the following week, you're going to have your final exam on the whole year's worth of stuff that we covered. So they would call it, we're going to do review and questions, and you don't have to come. No, it's optional. If you want to come for a review, then review will be here and the teacher will be here. And if you feel like you don't need that for study purposes, then you don't have to come. But my statistics mathematics teacher from India, well, yes, it sounded, let me see now. Yeah, it sounded to me like English was a second language for him in India. Now, he would have learned English in India, but it's just because of the accent, it didn't sound like clean. I don't know. I just expect that people in India who, there must be people of the brown persuasion in India who speak English as a first language. Isn't there? Well, I know. I mean, there's people from the Indian subcontinent, you know, here in Canada that, you know, are second or third or fourth generation, or I don't know how many generations, what generation. But, you know, they were born in Canada and they speak Canadian English because their parents speak perfect Canadian English, and their parents might have spoken accented English from India because maybe they were the ones that immigrated to Canada. But, you know, I've never been to India. But anyways, Dr. Abad spoke with an accent that was from India, and he definitely looks like a guy from India. Does he know? Yeah, he definitely knows mathematics and statistics. And he would do, instead of a review before the tests, he would do what he called a revise. And that's where you, the student, revise what you think you learned. Because it just seems like a lot of times students think they heard this from the professor, or they think they read this in the textbook, but it turns out something got scrambled along the way, and, you know, at the time of the test, somehow they didn't know the answer, or what they thought was the right answer turned out to be no. It wasn't that answer, and they might have said, well, I read it in the textbook, and in their mind, they said, I did read it that way. And you go back, and it's like, well, that's puzzling. So anyways, that would be the purpose of revise before the test with Dr. Abad, is that he would go over the stuff again, and my eyes would glaze over. I don't know, I had a terrible tough time. Well, I don't know, I guess I was 21. When I was 21 years old, I had an incredibly difficult time waking up in the morning. It just seemed to be my body's clock was in its deepest sleep at 8 o'clock in the morning. And my classes were at 8:30. But anyways, if I did get up, to my 8:30, and quite often it was chemistry with Dr. Birchall and Dr. Santry. And after I did go to those lectures and found that they were incomprehensible boobs, both of them incompetent at teaching anything whatsoever, it was a waste of time. So I needed my sleep more than I needed to sit there and twiddle my thumbs for however long that class was. So, but even if I got up, when I did, to make Dr. Timisk's physics class, he was very entertaining. A great. It was still in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. I'd look over at handsome. Well, I'm. What do you call it? I just like handsome guys. I cannot. Anyways, there's handsome Brad Marsh in the class. I don't know. It's a small classroom for a university. Not first year, second year, I guess. Maybe it was first year. Wasn't that many people in our class? I don't know. Maybe 20 people. But anyways, beautiful Brad Marsh was there. And really funny Dr. Thomas Timisk. Well, I don't know, it was Hungarian or something. He had an accent too. He was funny man. Really funny teacher. He knows stuff, but he was funny. Make you laugh. Come up with some odd stuff. There's some really funny professors, like just comic genius. Thomas Timisk is one of those guys. Anyways, it was at 10:30 in the morning, and the most entertaining professor was up there trying to entertain me. And there's the really, really, really handsome and really bewildering guy. How old did I say it was? 20 or 21? Well, this unbelievably handsome 20 or 21-year-old guy called Brad Marsh. And he's there. And he's one of those people that I can't stop myself. In the end, what I had to do with Brad Marsh in Dr. Abad's class is I had to sit as far away as possible from Brad Marsh and Snow White. Because Brad Marsh would sit next to Snow White from the fairy tale. A girl. So, it was like arguably the two most beautiful, well, yeah. There's a lot of arguments because Malcolm Reeve is going to go and wink at me. He was my chemistry partner. Well, we did, the Bus Loose tour from Southern Ontario to spring break in Fort Lauderdale. I can't tell you how hard it is to be a closet case. Because I was 100% in the closet in those days. I'm not allowed to express any affection towards people that I found that I want to be affectionate with, because you're not allowed in those days because of homophobia and the religious morality laws of Canada and the province of Ontario. It was actually illegal to be gay until 1967 in Canada. Illegal under British Empire laws. The British Empire had laws in every British Empire Commonwealth. It was illegal to do buggery, That's this name that they have for butt banging. Everything to do with, same-sex affection that monkeys do and apes do. They do grooming things all the time. They just love to give each other massages and feed each other grapes and things. But, when you're born a gay kid, you are never allowed to express what your natural inclinations are, and you just want to sometimes, I don't know, have a hug or something from, beautiful creatures. But you're not allowed. You're allowed to throw punches and to throw snowballs, and some people might even throw rocks at other kids or buses. Violence is encouraged. I don't know, it's very strange, because if you watch United States TV at nighttime, it's murder and mayhem, and it's just like the most common thing that people do is they pick up a handgun and they shoot somebody in the head, and then they're dead. And nobody bats an eye. I mean, you got Quincy, M.E., who's looking into whatever it is, and he keeps looking over at the Asian guy, Sam, who actually does all the work. And he keeps saying, oh, this is just horrible. But then the next week, another horrible, and every week it's just another murder. But you can't show love and affection at all on the Dick Van Dyke show. That was Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore in a black and white TV show before color TV was invented. I guess it would have been filmed around, 1966 when I was a baby. Well, it was the morality police were so strong in those days that Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore, who were on TV, a married couple, at nighttime, they slept in separate beds. They had 2 single beds. The universe is honking that horn, so you'll pay attention that this is an important point. Because the universe wants you to know that this is a story that it's paying attention to too. So what does that say when you got Theo Kojak on at nighttime? I don't know, all these things are constantly people dying, and it's like, for kids, gets desensitized. It's like, well, it's just normal for people to shoot one another, and then someone died. And then the actresses are all phony baloney, crying, so clearly it doesn't matter if somebody you knew for, I don't know, maybe it was your mom, and then somebody shot her and she was dead. It shouldn't matter to anybody. It doesn't matter on TV. Just next week, there'll be just a different thing, and I don't know. That story's over. You're never going to see those, because they're all actors and actresses anyway, so I don't know. And, so what do you learn? Well, violence is normalized, and love and affection is criminalized, because when I was a gay boy, it was illegal, and even when it became legal, it was frowned upon so much that, anybody, well, you'd be given, be called a fag or faggot or ostracized, and gay bashed, and harassed, and made to feel that, there was something wrong with you because, you're supposed to be Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve, because, clearly the parts don't work, whatever it is, whatever, it's unnatural. The cardinal from that from the Roman Catholic Church would say. But in those days, all of them would say, I don't know, there wasn't a church anywhere that would say anything other than the book of Leviticus says there will be no fornication. The only thing that will happen is procreation, and so the only time you will make whoopee is in the missionary position, etc., etc. And they told you that in the movie Monty Python, The Meaning of Life. Always look upon the bright side of life. Do-do, 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 do-do. The birds are really singing. Really, 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 they are practicing and practicing and practicing their singing. They've been singing and singing and singing and singing and singing and singing. Oh my goodness. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. So, the songs for today are by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And the other version is Joni Mitchell, of the Joni Mitchell song, Woodstock. Woodstock, Woodstock, Woodstock. The story of Woodstock was it was an enormous concert. And everywhere there was a song and a celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bomber jet planes flying shotgun in the sky, turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, we are golden, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden. What does that song mean? Well, they were hippies. Well, that's what they called themselves. They were a reactionary group against the incredibly repressive conservative regimes of the American Freemason plural. What are Freemason known for? The Freemason religion is getting your cake and eating it too. You get your cake, you get your icing, you get to eat it. That's the Freemason religion. Anything and everything you want, you can have it. Here you go, we'll bring it to you. Whatever you want. But the kicker is, you'll never be able to enjoy it. And that is one version of what in spiritual story that is what is known as the void. V-O-I-D. The void is a state of consciousness where one is lucid and in their body and with their rational mind and all their senses functioning normally, so that if they went for a checkup with the doctor, the white settled science, white lab coat wearing doctor trained, to standards of, let's say, what is that they do? I don't know, board trained. What do they call that? Whatever. I don't know what all that terminology is. Anyways, when you go to the clinic, and, the guy's gone through, Yale University, or University of Toronto, or University of Western Ontario, or University of British Columbia, or UCLA, or Cambridge University in England, or I don't know if there's a University of Aberdeen, Scotland, but maybe the University of Perth, Australia, or Wellington, New Zealand, or New Delhi, India, or Karachi, Pakistan, or Kinshasa, Africa, or Istanbul, Turkey, or University of Taipei, Taiwan, China, or a branch of, let's say there was, I don't think there is, but let's say there was a branch of the London School of Economics that had a campus in Macau, China, which was formerly a Portuguese colony. Macau, China is famous for gambling. Supposed to be, the dreamer's dream, Monte Carlo in the tiny principality and the French Riviera called Monaco. Monte Carlo and Macau, China. What else? Oh, well, Las Vegas, of course, famous gambling place. Mississippi River, riverboat gambling. I have to see any other famous places taking a gamble. We're kind of running out of places that are famous for sports betting, or playing roulette, or craps, or blackjack, or slot machines. Was that it? No other place where a high roller gambler would go as a known mecca for gambling. Well, I'm quite handcuffed because, I'm not a world traveler. I've been to these places, and there's vast places that are not covered by mainstream media or mainstream movies that you would see on Netflix or in the olden days at the movie theater. Enormous, vast areas of Africa. We don't know anything about the locals at all. I mean, maybe there is an African Macau, China, that just never made the international press or never made it into a novel. And we just don't know about it. Like, China just seems ridiculous to me. Over 1 billion people, B for billion, over 1 billion people, and they got one small tiny piece of land that, they got back from Portugal at the end of the lease. Well, that's a pretty tiny place for 1 billion Chinese to go and gamble. Don't they have any other places where people go in China where it's a famous place for gambling? There must be. I mean, if you're going to go and do horse racing, I don't know, the Preakness? Well, there's all kinds of other places, at least in the olden days, where horse racing was going on locally. And that was starting to be a really big industry in Ontario, in Canada, when they started televising horse racing from Ontario racetracks, because it was becoming a big tourist industry. And it was creating like a really interesting industry in breeding horses and training jockeys, and I don't know. Horse racing to go and watch is fun. Like Hastings Park in Vancouver. Oh, if you want to go to Vancouver, you don't know what to do and you've done it all? When was the last time you went to Hastings Park? Watch the horses. It's fun. It is so fun. I don't know. It's just fun. In the olden days, I would go with Davey 2 times. And Dave Marchand. And, sometimes somebody else would come along, but, Well, what would happen is, first thing we'd do is go there, we'd smoke a doobie, and then we'd go to the beer tent and get some beers. And then we'd go over to, the place, there was this place where you could buy, like, your daily newspaper printouts and your yellow sheets of what the odds makers were giving and their advice on different, how the horses have been doing in training, because there was people that apparently their full-time job is they go to watch horses when they're being trained and clock their own self and go and check out the malls so that they, you know what they think the horses are strong this week, or that horse that used to be so strong, or I don't know, it's got a sore, it's just not right. It looks like it needs more massage and maybe some time off, and so that one's not going to do so well. And then, then it's time for you to, crack open the old wallet, and, I don't know, how much money are you going to spend on betting today, Bob? Well, I don't know. Anyways, but then, they had roast beef there. Hastings Park roast beef sandwiches. That'll be a beautiful sunny day. You could go right down by the racetrack and stand, or you could go up in the stands. It's a huge place, lots of room to stretch out, and you could walk down to the horse paddock and you can look at the horses because they go on a parade before the race, each one, and you can look at them, and they give a description of, the whole story about this horse and that horse, and, and they blow the horn. But, they had all that horse racing broadcast live into the bars that applied for it. And even in cities like here in Thunder Bay where we didn't have a horse track, you could watch like Woodbine and various places from southern Ontario, and people would go there. And in those days they smoked in the bar, so they would smoke cigarettes and they would drink red-eye beers. That'd be tomato juice and beer if you're, somebody named Vance. So he would sit there with that guy Dave and, Dave's girlfriend. Well, Dave was into cuckolding. That's this strange psychological. They say it's sexual, but it's not. It's anti-sexual. It's you simply saying, my wife don't turn me on at all. I cannot get horny for that. So that person who can't get off doesn't divorce their wife. They say, you go out there and you go play a wound. You go play a wound. You go play a wound. I'm gonna know you're playing a wound. I'm getting off on it. I don't think they're like jerking off to it. No. Mental masturbation, which becomes better for many people than the real thing. Mental masturbation, yeah. Cuckolding. It's like, they're not having any sex at all, but mentally they're thoroughly enjoying this cuckolding thing. I don't know. Originally they presented it to us that man was being humiliated by his wife, and that they got off somehow on being humiliated. But I think we're revising a lot of these ideas and modernizing them, because it's a big fuck you, you stupid fucking bitch. Because that man who's, you just go off Sue Ellen, you go fuck whoever you are, and Sue Ellen looks at JR and says, gets all steamed up, and then she goes over and she pours herself 4 ounces of scotch, and she downs it in one fell swoop, and she bangs the glass down on the table, and she says, fine. And then she storms out, and she grabs a 26er of scotch, and she calls a cab. At least she called a cab. And she gets in the cab with her bottle of booze, and she says, take me to the Continental Hotel in downtown Dallas. And so she goes down there, and it's a ritzy High-end, 5-star hotel. Is it 5 out of 5 stars? Top of the line. Waldorf Astoria. The Taj Mahal. Anyway, we wanted the Continental. Christopher Walken likes to stay at the Continental hotels. And Sue Ellen, obliteratedly drunk because she got really into the bottle of scotch on the long drive to the Continental Hotel. But being a long time seasoned scotch drinker, she can hold her liquor. And she can, well, she might slur her words a little bit, but she usually can pick herself up after she's fallen down a few times in the hotel lobby and, put her credit card down there that says Mrs. J.R. Ewing, Ewing Oil. And the clerk says, I'll have the room ready for you right away, Mrs. Ewing. And then I'm just going to call the hotel nurse. And the hotel nurse immediately arrives with a wheelchair for Sue Ellen. And they say, Mrs. Ewing. And she says, oh, thank you. And the drunk woman goes over and she sits down in the wheelchair. And then Jacob, the hotel nurse, pushes her to her room. And he helps her get into bed. And he gives her a big kiss, a chaste kiss, kisses her on the cheek. And Sue Ellen reaches up and puts her arms around this big galoot and looks in his eyes and says, I love you. And then she closes her eyes. She immediately falls to sleep. In the morning, at the Continental, room service arrives. Sue Ellen is given a selection of things to deal with her hangover. She's given Johnny Walker Red, Johnny Walker White, Johnny Walker Black, Johnny Walker Blue. She's given Rough Grouse. She's given Bells. She's given Teachers. She's given Chivas Regal. She's given Oban. She's given Balwinnie. A huge tray of little 2.5 ounce bottles, hotel bottles, of scotch for hair of the dog. And then she's given a soda seltzer maker thing from the olden days. And she's been, she's been given with hair of the dog. And that's when you have bacon and eggs, salt and pepper, ketchup, rye bread toast, butter and peanut butter, home fries, what's the name of that champagne? It's like Veuve Clicquot or something. It's like $250 a bottle. Well, 2 of them, in the ice bucket. And, the flowers come in. Le Coq, Le Florist, and Rollison flowers. Well, because nobody uses a florist from Dallas. It's too lowbrow. No, they got to get something exotic. It's got to come from Canada. Because everybody knows that in the Great White North, all the flowers have got to be flown in from South America in the winter. And it's winter all the time. 10 months of winter, and then there's bug season in northwestern Ontario. And right now we're in bug season, July. If you're coming to Thunder Bay and you want summer weather with no bugs, the first 2 weeks of August. That's dry land time. The bug season is over and it's still hot in Thunder Bay and, various beautiful inland lakes, or the great big lake, Lake Superior, around here. So Sue Ellen Ewing knows there's no way they can grow tropical plants in Thunder Bay, so they must be flown in direct. They go from Caracas, Venezuela to Toronto to Thunder Bay, all by express air. And then you can get them at those two flower shops, and they're FTD flower shops, so you can call them, and through their network of dealers, they can have flowers delivered anywhere. And so Sue Ellen says, well, I want the flowers that were flown from Venezuela to Toronto direct to Thunder Bay, because they're the freshest flowers everywhere. Because they've gone direct. They've just got off the plane. They were cut, put on the plane, or no, maybe they put in the plane and cut in Toronto. I don't know, whatever. They're the freshest flowers. Because everything else sits in Dallas in warehouses where it's 120 degrees because they forgot to air condition or whatever, and all my flowers have gone limp. But if they're going to Thunder Bay, they know to properly keep them in proper climate control. So because they arrive in Thunder Bay and they're perfect. A million miles away from Venezuela. So Sue Ellen says, well, I want them from there because I'm just going to charter a plane. And I'm just going to have them go up and pick up the flowers up there. They're going to get off the plane. And then they're going to get a cab. And they're going to go to Lecoq and get their Lecoq flowers. And then they're going to Rollison and get those ones. And then go right back to the airport. Get them back on the plane, private plane, so they don't have to go through all that customs bullshit. They just, private plane doesn't have all the hassle. And then, then they fly back to Dallas, and I'll have my fresh flowers that I know are fresh. And it's just an unbelievable amount of stuff that comes in, because it's Ewing oil. You don't understand how rich Ewing oil is. They don't think anything of one of those Learjet Gulfstreams flying around, burning up, I don't know, thousands of dollars an hour worth of jet fuel. Nothing. And, to have a pilot, I don't know, $250,000 a year for a private pilot that's on standby all the time. That's what his daily job is when Sue Ellen is in her cups and she's feeling cuckolded by JR. Then she goes to the Hotel Continental, and then she wants to be pampered. And whatever it takes, whatever it costs, she has a bottomless pit of money. There is nothing too expensive for Ewing oil. Nothing. Nothing on the planet is too expensive. Nothing. So, it's trivial. Some people walk down to the local market. In Vancouver, you walk down to the Granville Island Market to look at vegetables and things, and you get them. To be the frugal gourmet. He used to be on Canadian TV. He was very good. Very relaxing guy, the frugal gourmet. I don't know, cooking shows quite often, especially the old time ones. And then there was the Galloping Gourmet with Graham Kerr. When I was a little kid, I loved that show. It was fun. He was drunk. Oh, he was galloping around because he was loaded. He would drink gallons of wine in that show. And then he had a heart attack. When the show went off the air for a little while, and then he came back on the air, and then it was all different. Because he said, I can't drink anymore because I had my heart attack, and I can't eat any of this foie gras and all this fattening food anymore. Because the doctor said all this shit. So anyways, he renewed his TV show, and it wasn't fun anymore. Not square. Nobody wanted it anymore because he wasn't galloping anymore. He lost his gallop. Was it the booze? It was the foie gras. I don't know. Mrs. Pindar looks at Sue Ellen and she says, I'm way richer than Sue Ellen Ewing. Mrs. Pindar, she says, I'm in a completely different class of trade and wealth. And she sees Sue Ellen buying her cut flowers from Lecoq and Rollison in Thunder Bay. And Liz Pindar starts saying, well, she knows Thunder Bay, Liz Pindar. She's been to Thunder Bay on an official visit. I don't know. Last time she was here on an official visit was when Mayor Walter Asif was his worship. We think he was the second mayor of Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay was created in 1970, and the first mayor was Saul Laskin, the brother of Canadian Supreme Court Justice Bora Laskin. And we think Walter Asif must have been. Walter Asif was the next mayor after Saul Laskin. And when Mayor Asif was mayor in office, that's when Liz Pindar had an official state visit to Thunder Bay. There's the universe giving you a siren, said that's correct. Now, I was really little when Liz Pindar came and when Walter Asif was mayor. And she did go in I guess it was like a convertible with the top down. As far as I remember. Oh my God, lost in the sands of time. It's really not good quality to this memory at all. It's not a solid. I don't know, there was something, but it's not clear. But as far as I remember, we did go down and line the streets, all of the people of Thunder Bay, when Liz Pindar drove by on her official state visit, and she stayed at the Royal Edward Hotel in what used to be known as Fort William. They took two cities and they amalgamated them together, and that's how you created the city of Thunder Bay in 1970. Now, it's beyond bizarre because Walter Asif must have been mayor when I was 15. That would be 1980. So you had some years of Saul Laskin in the 1970s, and then you had Walter Asif starting in late 1970s, 1980s. So if it was 1980, That was 42 years ago. And that's the last time we had a member of Liz Pendar's family officially come. I can't say that. Because I was out of Thunder Bay in, other places for many, many years. No, I know people in Thunder Bay. And I know, when Liz Pindar comes to Canada, like it's in the national newspapers, and they say where she and, members of her royal tribe are going to go when they come on a official state visit. So that's it. 42 years ago was the last royal visit from Liz Pindar. And she didn't send any other members of her, lower ranked people from her. No, that was it. And that was before Sue Ellen Ewing was on TV, or was at the same time? No, I'm pretty sure that TV show was after Liz Pindar's visit to Thunder Bay. So if, Sue Ellen's ordering her cut flowers in Thunder Bay, and Liz Pindar hasn't been to Thunder Bay since the time Mayor Walter Assa pinched her ass in the Thunder Bay airport. Did you know that Liz Pindar has a reputation of being a sexual vixen? Yeah. She was known when she was in her 20s to have prime ministers come in for tea, and they have to go for tea, a weekly tea with the Queen. It's part of the British Constitution. You have to consult in person with the Queen. Everybody thinks that the British Prime Minister calls the shots. Nope. Democracy? We used to think so. I don't know, so many layers away from democracy, but, Donald Trump told you that it's all rigged, folks. But even if we did get to vote and got who we wanted to be the Prime Minister, in the end, the Prime Minister must go for a weekly tea with Liz Pindar. And Liz Pindar, from a long line of monarchs, knows how to treat the hired help. Anyways, that's what she does. She's still the fucking queen, and she still fucking rules Britain and every other fucking place, especially the Commonwealth country. No, I don't think so. Do you think that she has a weekly phone call with Justin Trudeau of Canada? Do you think he hops on a Canadair jet and flies over there once a week to have tea with her? It was never reported in the national press that, there's no reason why they shouldn't. There's nothing. You just fly overnight from Ottawa to London, and then you go to the palace on your scheduled day. And Canada might be a Monday. New Zealand was going to be, well, I don't know. You're seriously talking about commercial jet. I don't know, because you could put Trudeau, they never really retired. They never really retired the SR-71 Blackbird. The CIA spy plane. It goes super duper Mach. Multiplicity of the speed of sound. That thing is a road. No, I don't know, what would you call it? I don't know. Grease lightning. Go, 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 go. Grease. So if you got, because it's a long way, as the crow flies from Wellington, New Zealand, on the far side of the world, that's a long way to fly to Buckingham Palace. But if you had an SR-71, you could burn there pretty quick, couldn't you? So that's what you do. You get the president of India, because India technically, I don't know. The head of state of India is the president, but it was just because it was Madras. Well, it was an old ancient state of India. They had princely states, and then they had, like Madras. And I don't know, some places had presidents, we think, too. Presidents and monarchs in all kinds of different countries that all were, conquered one another. And in the end, the British came in, and after the people of India, the different tribes of India conquered one another, and, made these different states of India, then Britain came in and steamrolled them all, and said, well, some of them can be, minor princes or whatever, but in the end, they all have got to be vassal states of Queen Elizabeth's empire. But, the president of India have to hop on an SR-71 Blackbird too, whatever his day of the week is that he's supposed to have tea. Now, she's going to be very busy because that's an awful lot of countries that have got to report to her. Presidents and prime ministers have got to come for tea, and then major companies like Charles Murphy, owner of Murphy Oil, well, he had tea with Liz Pindar. Charles Murphy was my boss at one time. Mr. Murphy? Yep. I never met Mr. Murphy, no. But I did spend time with Claiborne Deming, who was, senior ranking member of the Murphy family at that time. Because, that time Mr. Murphy was, like Professor Emeritus when he was having tea with Queen Elizabeth. I think he was 82, and I don't think he was... Well, I don't know. I'm sure he kept an eye on the financials. But, on paper, it was handed off to the next generations of Murphys. And Deming was a Murphy with another name. No, Claiborne and I drove from Thunder Bay, Ontario, to Superior, Wisconsin, down Highway 61, revisited, I think it was January of that year, in a blizzard. I had the company car. It was a silver Chevy Lumina, all-season tires, and I was white-knuckle driving it. Well, because it was snowing something fierce. I got to because Claiborne flew to Thunder Bay, and then it was my job to drive him to Duluth so he could, chit-chat. And it was a good thing because he wasn't like super lots of talking, but not talking, but he was the one that was talking. Was good because I didn't want to talk, because I was super focused on, keeping Mr. Deming from, ending up in the ditch with me, because it was like a blizzard. He wasn't worried in the least. He had full confidence in my driving ability as somebody who, grew up in the Great White North and nothing but snowstorms. So was I white knuckle driving it? Not quite, but was I concerned? Yes. Now, in order to get somebody from Northern Ontario concerned about a snowstorm, it's gotta be a blizzard. Because we're just like the movie, Fargo, where, it's just all winter, just like blowing snow, you can't see or whatever. So we're getting quite used to driving in the winter in a snowstorm. No big whoop. But when you get a blizzard, of blizzards, and you can't see, and you still gotta go. Well, then what do? Well, you slow down. Some people do. Some people speed up. I'll never. I don't know. Never understand. Michael Jackson is back in the news. He faked his death. And in the end, that monstrosity thing that they said had so much plastic surgery it didn't even look human. And then, well, that was all phony baloney. That was a ventriloquist dummy. No, the main Michael Jackson, I don't know what he looks like now. I don't know. Just expect to hear a lot of Michael Jackson music in the next little while. Ebony and Ivory get together in perfect harmony. Together, my piano, keyboard. Oh Lord, why can't we? So anyways, Liz Pindar has not officially been back. The members of her official royal family have not been back to Thunder Bay because Walter Asif embarrassed her by telling the newspaper that he pinched the ass of the Queen, which is, you're not even supposed to touch the Queen. In Hawaii, in the olden days, if the king walked by or whatever, and you happened to step on his shadow, you would be immediately gutted. While you were alive, they would carve you up and take out your entrails. I don't know. They would do some horrible, unbelievable punishment because that's the king, and you don't do that. And the penalty is not only death, but it's a long, horrible, torturous death, so that everybody else will see that you don't do that. So anyways, now it becomes the question of, well, has Liz Pindar unofficially visited Thunder Bay? Maybe even under a different name. And what about, all the other minor royals and things? How about American presidents? No American president's been to Thunder Bay officially. And they're right next door. What, we're not good enough? Liz Pindar comes here in the 1970s and no American president thinks it's worthwhile coming to Thunder Bay? Well, Claiborne Deming, head honcho at Murphy Oil. Murphy Oil, at the time I worked for them, they were the 15th largest oil company on the planet. And Charles Murphy has tea with Liz Pindar. So there's a big deal, Claiborne Deming is a big deal guy. I would say, an executive guy like that running enormous oil conglomerated company. Holy moly. Yeah, that's a big wheel on campus. And here I am. I don't know. I think I was 25, 26 years old, driving through this unbelievable blizzard down Highway 61, revisited the same highway that I've been talking about, and I keep talking about. It starts in Thunder Bay, and it goes, if you go all the way to the other end of it, you end up in New Orleans, Louisiana. Along the way, in the southern part of it, you come to the crossroads where Robert Johnson made the deal with the devil, popularized by the song Crossroads by British blues band Cream, Eric Clapton, and Ginger Baker, and who's the other guy? And Ralph Macchio made that movie, Crossroads, or whatever. I don't know if it was a deal with the devil or not. But that's Highway 61 too. Anyways, I did get Claiborne Deming to Superior, Wisconsin, down Highway 61, safe and sound, no accidents at all on the way there. And then I think I had lunch in Duluth, and I turned around and I had to drive back. Because it was my only part. I had nothing to do in Duluth. My job was done. I was the taxi driver. He got to see Highway 61 in the winter. And I learned some stuff about Murphy Oil. He did talk about things. And then drove home. And I think the blizzard was basically done. And that was my Claiborne Deming story. Head honcho of Murphy Oil. I think he's nephew to, I don't know if he's Sir Charles Murphy. Definitely Mr. Murphy, to me. But I never met him. But I met his nephew. And then I met the most important Murphy and Murphy Oil when I went to El Dorado, Arkansas, the head office. And that's Mike Murphy. And without Mike Murphy, Murphy Oil could not exist. And the strangest thing of all is that Mike Murphy is not related to the owner, Charles Murphy. Same last name, but they're not related. Mike Murphy was in charge of purchasing at Murphy Oil. And if you didn't have that purchasing guy, then we wouldn't have stuff to get oil out and transport it. I don't know, everything. You wouldn't have gas stations if it wasn't for Mike Murphy. The other Murphys, the one that works for Mr. Murphy, but they're not related, even though they got the same last name. Everybody knows that Murphy is a name that comes from Ireland. It's just a little tiny island off the coast of Great Britain that pretends it's independent from Queen Elizabeth. Liz Pindar. Because somewhere along the way, Charles Murphy and Mike Murphy are the same clan Murphy. So they are relatives. Must be. Must be. Must be. So, somehow, in Clan Burroughs, I'm related to James Burroughs, who's always given in the credits for the famous TV show comedy Taxi. And because my mom's maiden name is Shaw, I must be part of Clan Shaw, which includes Robert Shaw, the toughest son of a bitch on the ocean, Mr. Quint. Mr. Quint. I don't think Roy Scheider's character in Jaws could ever imagine that a man like Mr. Quint existed. Because when the shit hit the fan, and things really went south, went really badly with that great white shark, Roy Scheider grabbed the ship-to-shore radio to call for help. It's like, this has gone like way too far, and we're in danger for our lives. And that's a great white shark, and horrible is going on here. And then Mr. Quint, Robert Shaw, comes to the cabin, and he's a huge man, towers over Roy Scheider, and he's got a baseball bat, and he takes the baseball bat and he smashes the fuck out of the ship to shore radio. He smashes the shit out of it. He breaks the motherfucker. Massive goddamn unit of his own. And he's furious looking at that city cop. And Roy Scheider is like, we're losing the war against the great white shark. You know, Bruce there, Bruce the shark. We're losing the war here, Mr. Quint. Mr. Quint's looking at this guy. Well, anyway, whatever he said. But in essence, what it was all about was Mr. Quint only gets paid if he gets Bruce the shark. And if you call for help and other people come out and get Bruce the shark, then Mr. Quint is out all this expenses of him being the one who was special called to get this shark. And that's his bread and butter. In other words, you can't have some guy go and taking over his operation. His operation is he's got to get that great white shark, and he's got to get it, proved that it's dead, so he can collect his reward money, because that's how he has to pay his expenses. That's his living. So, this stupid Roy Scheider, the cop, is like, well, he's chicken shit in the eyes of Mr. Quint. Mr. Robert Shaw. So if that's Clan Shaw, Robert Shaw, well, I mean, that's one tough customer. So it does seem like the Shaws do have at least some people in the tribe, who are exceptionally tough. And my mother, no, that's incorrect. I got too many people coming in. Wayne Keeley Powell is trying to tell Brent Beeson to back off. Well, either tell him to back off or make him back off, because the wizarding war is still on. And I've got all these sorcerers that all gang up on me at the same time. Well, in the middle of me telling you a story. And then how can I tell you a story when I got Wayne Keeley Powell, the Kahuna Anna, and Brent Beeson the devil, screwing around with everything. So that's the end of the story. I was going to tell you about somebody else who was part of the bloodlines of me. Field Marshal Sir Bernard Montgomery. They fuck with the words. You see, already we're back on warfare again. Every day we're at war. Every day I'm attacked. We're at war. Nobody wants peace, so that's what we got. So, Bernard Montgomery, the Montgomery bloodline is in me too. According to what I'm told. Because nobody can tell you anything but a pack of lies from previous generations. Because they told me nothing but lies and lies and lies and lies about all their stupid Freemason religion and their stupid Christian religions. All this fucking bullshit and baffle gab and keeping me in the dark about all their fucking lies and all their fucking, I don't know, Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth. So by default, I'm dragged into this goddamn Highlander game that you insist on having, you fuckface assholes. So, you insist on having a Highlander game, and you insist that I must play. And you attack me with your vicious remote neural monitoring, Dr. Evil, high-tech electronic warfare, electronic zombieing of people technology. And you insist that I develop superpowers. As if I'm a Scottish warlock based upon these bloodlines and these warrior clan people, fictional or reality, And I'm supposed to incorporate that all in me. And it's either, well, it's you dead or alive, Bob. What's it going to be? So I do not consent to being forced into a Highlander war, a wizarding war. I do not consent, and yet here I am, de facto in a wizarding war. I don't understand how insane you people are, because anybody who watches Highlander understands there's only one Highlander and everybody else loses their head. Literally. I'm not worried about losing my head, kids, because when Darth Vader swung his lightsaber and, swung it at Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't end up, cut in half with the lightsaber. He disappeared, and all that was left was a little fabric cape floating down, and that was, where the hell did Obi-Wan Kenobi? But Obi-Wan Kenobi said, Darth Vader, if you strike me down, you'll make me more powerful than you ever believed. And Vader had to do it to find out what would happen, and he did. And Obi-Wan wasn't lying there dead like Vader expected him to be. Poof! He winked out like Samantha Stevens from Bewitched. So I already told the devils this morning, because I'm not Roman Catholic, and I don't believe in eternal torture. So, if you're Roman Catholic and, you're waging war on me in this Highlander game, well, you'll have to have a good scorch. I'm going to have to scorch you in the lake of fire so you know what it's like. So when I take you out of there, that, it's very unpleasant, because I really think people have got to have a demonstration of what it's like in the lake of fire. Because nobody believes that it's going to happen. So that's what's in the works. And the way it works is, if you're under 540 on the scale of human consciousness, the warlock is going to put you in the lake of fire. And if you're over 540 on the scale of human consciousness, the warlock's going to put you in the lake of fire too. No one gets a pass. I don't care if you're the Pope. I don't care if you're Liz Pindar. I don't care if you're the Dalai Lama. Nobody gets a pass unless you earn a pass, because this is Earth School. And apparently part of Earth School is Highlander and the Gunslinger. That's Stephen King thing. So anyways, as the warlock, I'm just going to tell you that, going to war against me was stupid, but it has to be done all the same in order to determine where your status falls. At the top of the heap is the warlock, and then all the minor, witches and goblins and tarot card readers and candle burners and wagon burners and gay bashers and mad alcoholics that mistake you for their wife or something. Anyways, everyone goes into the lake of fire. And people at 540 and higher will find out that there is no sting to the fire whatsoever. And just like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the famous episode where they sang the whole episode, they will walk through the fire and they will be unburnt and unmolested. But those who are under 540 in the scale of human consciousness will get a good roast, a good scorch. Because, Hanuman said that people need to get a soul, S-O-U-L, a soul lesson from all of this earth school. So we call it, a good scorch. And then it becomes a question of is the warlock going to get you out of there, or is it part of your training? Because everybody's got to be in training. I mean, if you're going to go to eternal warfare, you're always going to be warring against me, the warlock, then, well, I don't know. Why should I let you out of there? Why don't I say, well, you've got to develop the magic so that you can get yourself out of the lake of fire? I mean, if I put you in there, it's kind of stupid for me to get you out of there when, you're all magical beings in potentiality. And if I get you out of there, then you're never going to develop the talent of, you think Harry Potter? If Harry Potter was put into the lake of fire, do you think he'd get out or not? A young Harry Potter at 10 years old could get out? How about Harry Potter at 35? Or Harry Potter at 55? Or Harry Potter if he went to, 250? At what level of his magical genius does he get the ability to leave the lake of fire? Well, I don't know. But these are questions that everybody needs to learn, because according to Harry Potter, people who insist that they're muggles are lying. Anyways, it's time for Holy Smoke. So, today's Holy Smoke is brought to you by Virginia Slims. Don't forget, you are allowed to have Holy Smoke. You are not allowed to burn animals. But you can burn tobacco. You can burn sweetgrass, sage. You can burn cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, cannabis hybrids. You can find various clove cigarettes or other herbal cigarettes that you want to make up, herbal blends. Plant material can be used. Be kind, though, like if you got houseplants. Don't scare them by, torturing them with fire. In other words, find plant material that was designed for the leaves to dry out and be harvested at the end of the year. Houseplants are not designed to be harvested. You should treat your houseplants the way you would treat your dog or your cat or your child. You should bless it, love it, and sing to it, pet it. Well, you pet it with one of those misters. You just fill it with nice, not too cold water, and definitely not hot water, and keep it nice and moist, and not overwatered. But plants like to be talked to, and they like music, and they like to be acknowledged that they're there because they understand you. Even in Thunder Bay, on Red River Road, the main drag in Port Arthur part of town. Echo Superior has got a park there that they sponsor with the city of Thunder Bay. And the signage there says, talk to your plants. They understand you. So it's not just me. You can go and find an old amazing book called The Secret Life of Plants. I don't know, 1975 or something, but it should be out there. Amazing book, and you'll probably find a summary of that stuff on the internet as well. The Secret Life of Plants. I can't remember the author. Well, it's just that I'm about, why don't we just try kindness first? But given Earth history, where anybody that says that is considered to be Ed Muskie, somebody who cries, and we can't have a crybaby as president, so he didn't get to be president in 1972, and I don't think George McGovern was either. These are old names from, the era of Richard Nixon, the disgraced president who had to resign because of Watergate scandals, where they were doing criminal activity. They were breaking in to, well, anyways, you can look up Watergate, Richard Nixon. I mean, the whole time that he was being corrupt and fixing elections, he was not a Democrat. He was about stealing the election. Ruthless, win at all costs, even breaking election laws. Yep. And then what happens? Well, then he was sworn in by the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court as president, and then he was given the nuclear football with the codes to start global nuclear war. And that's the insanity of planet Earth. George C. Scott was in one of those nuclear bomb thriller dramas, How I Came to Love the Bomb. Catch-22 with Alan Arkin. I think it was James Heller was the author of that. A series of unfortunate events. Anyways, it is not my choice to be warred upon, and it was never my choice to have a Highlander game. It was never my choice to have a New World Order takeover of the supposed Western democracies. But it was my intention. I am the truth. To be my positive affirmation for me. And when I say I am the truth, it's like, well, everything that ain't truth is coming up to be shown. Webs and webs, packs and packs of packy lies. Pack of lies, packy lies. Pack up all your packy lies. Because I'm the Highlander. I ain't gonna have any lies. No lies. So, I'm not Roman Catholic, but, the Catholic's going to tell you, if you sinned, then you need to go to the sin bin, the penalty box, voluntarily, get in that box, start running your mouth. You got to tell the Catholic priest what you done. Because he's your substitute. According to the Cardinal, I listened to the Cardinal from Africa yesterday. When you're talking to the Catholic priest, he's standing there as a stand-in for Jesus. So even though you're talking to the Catholic priest, Father so and so, he is standing there for Jesus, holding space for Jesus. So you're actually confessing your sins to Jesus. So you better tell the truth when you're in the confessional. And if you're not Roman Catholic, then you need to open up a YouTube channel, like what I have. And it's free. And it's super easy to upload from your camera to your. It's super easy to make a free YouTube account. And for you to start talking about everything, good, bad, and the ugly, and the unmentionables, and the stuff that's in the vault, and then the stuff that's in the vault that isn't talked about, and then the other vaults that are all a front for the main event, which is like the vault where we got to keep the stuff that I can't trust to those other vaults. And as you all these compartmentalizations are like Ewan McGregor's mind when he was dealing with the demons in Dr. Sleep. Did you? Because I told you like a month ago, there's a double-header movie event for you. It's called Watching The Shining and its sequel, Dr. Sleep. Double feature. Because you need to remember everything to do with The Shining and Dr. Sleep. Because I need to watch those movies again, but I haven't been able to get cooperation from the regular devils around here. Anyways, when Kilui Pao refuses to submit to my authority as the warlock, he says the Kahuna Ana Ana is more powerful than the warlock. And he says, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't say anything because he's a jackass. But all the same, he is free and on the loose. And, he is a Kahuna Ana Ana. He is what he says he is when he comes around here. You can't kill me, but I don't seem to be able to. I don't know. I don't know what to do. If I say abracadabra and I'm the warlock, nothing happens. I don't have a big claymore. No, I'm not a strong man. No. I don't know. Maybe 172 pounds. How am I going to swing an enormous battle axe made for Goliath from the Bible of 7 feet tall or something? I can't do it. I'm an old man, too. When you start pushing 60, it's like, seriously. I don't want, even Sean Connery or whatever, when he looks like an old man. He's a big Scotsman. He's huge. At least he looks like it to me. There's some Scots that are really small. They're 5'4", very, very wiry, and those ones drink. They drink with the Irish, the little Irishman and the little Scotsman. They're nothing like those people. The small people outdrink big people. I don't know. I'd like to see a beer drinking contest between Dale Smith. Everybody knows Dale Smith from Southern Ontario, Chum FM radio personality. I don't know what other stations he was with over the years. But anyways, Dale is a big Goliath of a man, and he can drink beer. At least he could back in the olden days. I'm sure he can keep up. And Mark Cook, who is a clone of Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, he can drink beer pitchers. And drink beer pitchers and drink pitchers and pitchers and pitchers and pitchers. And he never gets drunk. Well, a little bit. I don't know. Like I don't know. Doesn't slurs? No. Does Dale Smith? No. Are they drunk? No. 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 They can drink alcohol and not get drunk. Do they look like they drink alcohol? Yeah. But did they look drunk? No. Do they look like, if they went for a walk after they drank gallons and gallons and gallons of beer, that they might, weave up and down the sidewalk because they're like tipsy or fall down? No. No. Mark Cook likes beer so much. He's known to take beer pitchers from the Cambie all the way across to Davie Street and drink the pitcher. And bring the pitcher, well, I don't know, 3 a.m. Walking somewhere from Cambie's down to Davie Street and walk right down the hill of Davie Street, right down to the ocean, drinking his last pitcher of beer from the Cambie after being there all day. Mark was, what do you call that guy that, like, I don't know. He's the employee who's supposed to go and pick up all the glasses and all the used pitchers and everything, and then bar back. Well, the whole time he's bar back and he's drinking beer. He certainly is. I don't know. He's not a bartender. So, because a bartender is not allowed to be drunk. You're not allowed, technically you're not allowed to be drinking when you're a bartender. At least in the province of Ontario. In British Columbia, Vancouver is probably the same. But a barback is not serving alcohol, so he's not covered by nothing to do with it. He's the janitor. He's not licensed to serve alcohol or not. Doesn't need to be. He's not. He's just picking up all the used dishes. So the whole time he's getting paid to pick up all that, it's like, well, people are buying him free pitchers of beer because that's Mark Cook. And what does he do? Well, he drinks beer. What do you do? Well, you come to the Cambie, make sure you buy that guy a pitcher of beer. Because he's a permanent thing here and his job doesn't pay him enough, They pay him a minimum wage if they pay him at all to be the barback. So, you just, tip him in beer pitchers. Because he's going around, they're putting stuff away. But mostly what he needs is pitchers of beer. So, do you want, the locals to be at the Cambie? Yeah, otherwise it's all foreigners and then you don't get the Vancouver experience. You need to have local people. So, you got to have Cookie here. And in order to keep him here, you got to keep lots of beer there. How much beer? Well, I'm trying to figure this out. Because Mark Cook would be 160 pounds, let's say. And Big Dale Smith? Oh, I don't know. He's huge. He's so much bigger than me. I mean, I'm not quite 6 feet tall, and Dale Smith is probably, good God, is he 6'4"? He's huge to me. He's a man mountain. I couldn't guess. I cannot guess it. The weight of big people, because I've never been big, and I can't imagine. I can't figure it out. Like, if you were to put me next to Big Dale, would 2 of me fit inside of Big Dale? Yep. And then probably, maybe not room for a third of me, but I think, 2 of me. I guess that would put Dale at between like 300 and 400 pounds. Huge guy. Huge guy. Ugh. But you'd think that somebody who is naturally a big Goliath giant, they should be able to, that would be like, Robin Hood and, well, Little John. Dale Smith could be considered Little John in Sherwood Forest. I'm not Robin Hood. No. Everyone knows in Thunder Bay that Robin Hood is John Kaplanis, the fireman. because he was always in the newspaper, you know. So that's Robin Hood in Thunder Bay. So, does John Kaplanis drink beer? I have no idea. He was at Churchill High School a million years ago. He was in that Malcolm Downey, Kenny Blackwood group. I don't know. I don't think John Kaplanis, as Robin Hood, could keep up with the beer drinking ability of Little John Dale Smith. I don't know. I have no idea, even if John Kaplanis likes to drink beer. No idea. Just that, you know, Dale is big and he likes to drink beer. So he's Little John. And Big John is Mark Cook in Vancouver, Canada, who is an absolute. I'm really working very heavily to try and figure out, is it at all possible that my fuck buddy, Mark Cook, you know I'm queer, well, because he is the spitting image in certain pictures of him and certain old pictures of Kurt Cobain. They are the spitting image of one another. And I don't know, fantasy football is going on in my head. It's like, well, you know, they always fake their deaths, Hollywood and celebrities, and then they go into witness protection. Because if you even go to Wikipedia and look up FBI witness protection program, they do say, if it's not on Wikipedia, it's some other places on the internet that say that in addition to people who, you know, need protection from the mob or whatever because they, you know, testified against John Gotti or something, that in addition to those people going to witness protection, also celebrities who have retired from being celebrities go into it. Well, if they can do that, what is the chance that Mark Cook is Kurt Cobain? I don't know. I have a hard time trying to just figure out doppelgangers and, you know, people who are just lookalikes and stuff. It's because now normally consciousness researcher, is he Sir David Hawkins? He might have been knighted. Well, in one of his videos, it's this quip that just keeps coming back. And it's bewildering and perplexing, and it won't go away. Because it's part of I am the truth. And this comes up to figure it out. What exactly is the truth that Dr. Hawkins is telling us in this video? And it's a short question from the audience. And it was well, you're just going to have to go and find that video because I've been stopped from telling you. How am I supposed to give you information when none of you people are willing to help me out? Because I'm under horrible attack by all kinds of demonic shit things. And none of you people want to help me out with them. So here I am, the warlock, you know, I'm taking on all the shit things on the planet. All the devils. Because they picked me to be the warlock. They picked me. I don't have any superpowers to this day. Why am I the warlock? Because they hijacked my body with remote neural monitoring and hijacked my, just like I can't get words well, they stuck the words out. So I breathe and they hijack my body, and as I breathe out, I'm not in control of the words that come out, complete hijacking. And they say, Bobby Barrows is the warlock. Because I've got the bloodlines. And I've got the witch's marks. And I've been picked. So Bruce the Orc, Brent Beast and the Devil, and Bruce the Whale. You know what they call Bruce the Shark? Because Mr. Gwent's got to figure out who. I know I'm out of words because they're blocking me. Because that's the way it is when you got horrible people that are using electronic torture on you, and pretending that somehow a normal human being can become supernatural if you're attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked for years and years and years and years and years. Are you going to develop defenses if you don't die? And the answer is yes. Or no. Because I'm inside the black box. And black box testing of software is, you don't know what the computer code is. You don't really know what it's supposed to do other than it's a program and it's supposed to do this. When you click on this, it's supposed to do this. And you just go through. If you click on that, do you get that? And if somebody does something horrible to me, do I feel it? Or, is there karma or not? Or is there me or some other thing that's going to help me out? In the end, the words they give me are the words that you'll hear right now. I am the warlock, and I do intend on putting every single beastie and not beastie into the lake of fire for a good scorch, for dragging me into this fucking game. And if you're saying, well, I'm not part of it, well, you are. Because if I am dragged into it, then every fucking being has been dragged into the fucking Highlander. Because I have no worries whatsoever about walking through the fire of the lake of fire. If there's fire right here, well, I can't stop the remote neural monitoring electronic torture of me, magically or non-magically. So, tell me now. I keep telling the devils over and over again. I keep telling them over and over, dip, 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 dip. Don't fuck with me in the middle of me talking, because then you can't get in. Blah 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 blah. Do you really want me to do this all the time? Well, that's what happens every day, all day long. So the Highlander game that you've dragged me into is on. And my intention is for every motherfucking being to go in a lake of fire. And if you're magical, you can walk out. And if you're not, then you're going to get a good scorch. And if it's 10 bazillion years, well, you're going to be scorching in there forever and ever and ever. Because I did not consent to being dragged into this Highlander fucking game where I'm tortured and tortured and tortured. And if I'm able to kill you all, I'm gonna. Every goddamn thing is going to be killed. Because then only the magical ones are going to be left over. And that's what Merlin learned in the Netflix TV show Merlin. That you'll have an evil king, Prince Arthur's father, Anthony Michael Head, Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He wouldn't let magical beings be on his land. But whenever he was in trouble, or wherever he was being nasty, first thing he went looking for was a magical person to do something that he needed done. So he was a two-faced hypocrite, and he persecuted magical people. Anyways, I'm not magical at all, but I'm certainly persecuted as if I am. There must be some reason that and then the devil say, well, you must be magical or something. So, whatever it is, if I do get the magics to do it, everybody is on notice. All of you people are going to... So you better get used to the idea of you learning magic. Because it's a magical place. Because I'm going to use it with warlock magic. And that's where you're going to go, so you better figure it out. Well... Have I walked through fire? Yes, I have. I have done fire walking before. Well, it wasn't walking through the lake of fire. No, it was very minor league, but an introduction to fire walking. Yes. I did it on the beach in White Walk. I don't appreciate my words being fucked with during the middle of my talks. So, either I'm going to be dead from all this fucking stuff, or I'm going to be the Highlander and I'm going to own all of you fucking people. And all you fucking people are going to be my fucking slaves. Forever. Because when you're screaming and gnashing in your teeth, I'm not a Christian God. I'm Bobby Burrows. And you went under the lake of fire, and you can't do it magically, then you're going to have to call me God. And I'm going to be your God. And you're going to be my slave. If you went under the lake of fire. And it's going to be goddamn hot. It's going to be goddamn painful. And the pain is what's going to wake you up. And what you're going to learn is I am the Highlander. And I am the Warlock. And I'm your boss. And I'm your God. And you're going to wish that you never motherfucking messed with me. Forever. I never intended on becoming your God and enslaving you. The last thing I ever wanted was to enslave people. I wanted everybody to be free, but you all refuse to participate in the liberation of planet Earth. So, I'm going to have to conquer it. I'm going to have to take it away from Pindar, the reptilian Draco. I'm going to have to take it all away. Because it's forced upon me. So, that's the plan. Am I going to do that? I'll tell you how I do it. I don't do anything. I don't. What do I focus on? Meditation. What am I meditating right now? Aspects of me, yes. But there's all kinds of people who don't respect me whatsoever. They don't respect that I prefer peace. I prefer nothing but peace. And these people prefer nothing but evil. So, evil ones will go. And I can't tell the difference between the evil ones and the good ones. So everybody's got to go in. As long as there's evil ones here and nobody will help me get rid of them, then you're all going to be considered evil. And that's the way it's going to be. And the way it is right now, these people want to enslave me. And, they have. So, as they lose more, because that's what's happening, over this time period, the evil ones have tried to kill me over and over again, and they haven't. And they've lost a lot of the things that they could do to me. And still do horrible, horrible things to me all the time, and this is part of it. I don't consent to this. And I don't consent to the idea that somehow I need to be training all the time to do warfare. Because that's what this is. But, if I'm dragged into it, well, then my intention is to live. Which means I got to kill you all. I'm like a fire. And if you develop magic, and you can get out of this magical lake of fire, I guess we'll consider you a magician. And if you can't, well, that's what they keep telling me. Don't say can't. And then later on we came across, I don't take credit for it, and they don't take credit for it, but together we came across the word impossible. Impossible, that's impossible. Mission impossible. But you just change it. You just cut that word impossible into I am. Cut it there. New word, possible. I'm possible. So, I don't know how to warlock. I don't know nothing about magic. I don't know how to do magic. The only thing I know how to do is inner silence, which is meditation. And I go around as a normal human being, being me, being attacked all the time, and what do? Right now, I'm meditating. I'm always meditating because there's an aspect of me that's known as the silent witness, and that thing witnesses all the time. And a lot of years to get my silent witnesses silent, get my mind silent, and then, surprise and surprise, have electronic garbage people come in and invade my quiet mind. That's got to go too. So in the end, this wizarding war is a mage war for me. If you're going to make me a mage, then I am not going to be a rifleman or a sharpshooter, and I'm not going to be wielding, a Scottish mace or a claymore battle axe, because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I've been through all the metaphysical stuff and whatever, zillions and zillions of books and everything. What works? Nothing. For me, nothing works. And for people that attack me, it's electronic. Electronic attack. Because if somebody is attacking you, you don't know who they are, it's like, a non-physical attack. And they say they're God to you. Well, you say to them, I can do that. And then you say to those people who are talking to you by voice-to-skull technology, you say, now you make that thing move. And they can't. Which proves that it's electronic, and they can attack you electronically to your body, but inanimate objects, non-living objects, they can't move them. So they can't do poltergeist. Which means they can't control your reality other than torturing your physical body. And making you say things that you never intended of saying things. And, fucking with you all the time, gang stalking you. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this all the time, but I'm forced to all the time. And vicious, violent fucking things that these people are. The police and the military have no interest in removing this evil. They have nothing but evil at all levels of government, as you now know. And, even, I don't know, blah, 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 I gotta go because I'm sick of this.